Hi everybody, this is the topic 2 video for chapter 5. If you look at the first statement, is this true? 1 is less than 2, is less than 3, less than 4, less than 5. We can say that's true because 1's smaller than 2, 2 is smaller than 3. If we multiply each number by 10, that statement is still true. 10 is less than 20, that's less than 30, that's less than 40, so on and so forth. However, if we multiply each number by negative 10 from the very beginning, we've got negative 10 is less than negative 20. That is not true. And none of those are true following up. So when we multiplied by a positive number, it was true. But when we multiplied by a negative number, it was not true. So we're going to look more in depth at this in a little bit. So what does this mean? When we multiply or divide by a negative number, we need to reverse the inequality sign. So just change this direction of the sign. So if we look at our first number, if we were to solve that as an equation, negative 3 is being multiplied by b, so we need to divide both sides by negative 3. So we get b by itself on the left, negative 7 on the right, but because we divided by a negative number, since we divided by that negative 3, we have to flip our sign. So instead of a greater than, it is now a less than sign. If we look at our second example, y is being divided by negative 6, so the opposite would be to multiply both sides by negative 6. On the left side, the negative 6 then cancels out and we get just y. On the right side, reducing that multiplication of the fraction, we get negative 4. Because we multiplied by a negative, we have to flip our sign, so it changed from less than to greater than. So let's solve each of these inequalities. For the first problem, negative 8 is being multiplied by n, so we need to divide both sides by negative 8. We get n on the left and positive 2 on the right because we divided by that negative number. We have to flip our sign. So again, we learned how to graph last time. Closed circle at 2, less than goes to the left. Our second example, we've got t being divided by 4, so we're going to multiply both sides by 4. So we get t on the left, negative 8 on the right. This time, we do not flip the sign because we multiplied by a positive number, so it stays less than. And then the sign does not change. So if we go to graph it, we've got an open circle at negative 8, arrow going to the left. Our next example, we've got x being divided by negative 7, so to undo the negative and the division by 7, we're going to multiply both sides by negative 7. Again, we get stuff canceling out on the left. Negative 2 times negative 7 is positive 14, and because I multiplied by a negative number, my sign flips. And we go to graph. Open circle at 14, greater than goes to the right. Last example, we have a fraction being multiplied by k, so to undo a fraction, we multiply both sides by the reciprocal. We get k by itself on the left, and when we do our fraction multiplication on the right, 60 over 3 reduces to 20. Since we multiplied by a positive 4/3, our sign does not change. So we're graphing k is less than 20 with an open circle. Go ahead and do these 3 U-tries. Next, we're going to change them from words to inequality, solve, and graph. So 4 times a number means we're multiplying 4 times some number x, no more than. So that means it can be equal to 108, but it can't be more than that. So we need a less than or equal to sign, and then 108 on the right. So this is our inequality, solve by dividing both sides by 4, and then graph. So we need a closed circle at 27, arrow going towards the left. Next, we have 1/5 of a number. So of a number means we're going to multiply by that number, which we don't know, so we're going to use x. At most. So that means it can be 30, but it's at most 30. So it can be anything less than 30 or equal to 30. In order to solve this, multiply both sides by the reciprocal, which is 5 over 1, and we get x is less than or equal to 150. Again, for this one and the previous one, we did not have to flip our sign because we multiplied and divided by positive numbers. So when we go to graph, closed circle at 150, arrow going to the left. Next problem, half of a number is at least 14. So 1/2 of a number, that's 1/2 times some number x, is at least. So if it can be 14, but it needs to be 14 or bigger at least. So we need greater than or equal to. Greater than, it can be more than 14, but it can be equal to 14. So when we go to solve this problem, multiply both sides by the reciprocal, 2 over 1, giving us x is greater than or equal to 28. All right, what I want you guys to do, I told you we would do this. Draw a smiley face in the upper right corner of this slide if you are listening with your headphones. Draw a smiley face in the upper right corner of this slide. And then we'll go to graph x is greater than or equal to 28. Last problem, we've got 300 is more than. So that's the same as greater than. 10 times a number. 10x, I just like to use x. So to solve this inequality, we're going to divide both sides by 10. I ran out of room, so I'm just going to use a little division sign. And then I do like to have my variable on the left side, so I'm going to have x and 30. The alligator's eating the 30, so it stays eating the 30. And then we go to graph. We've got a open circle at 30, arrow going to the left. So again, if you have not done so already, smiley face in the upper right corner of this slide. Go ahead and do the U-tries, and that will conclude this video.